Hims stock is having a terrible day on Thursday. Shares are down about 10% as I'm recording late in the day on Thursday. And the news that is impacting the stock is a GLP-1 competitor has now gone off shortage. And what that means is that the compounds that Hims and Hers makes may not be available to sell into the market anymore now that their products that they're trying to replace are off shortage. What Hims and Hers does is they use a loophole that the FDA allows you to compound a medication if it is in short supply from the branded product. What's strange about this is the product that came off shortage is not the product that Hims and Hers sells. So there's a lot of weird information going on about this, but I want to give you what's actually happening and how big of an impact this may be on Hims and Hers. This isn't a nothing burger, but it's probably not exactly what you think it is. So let's dig into it. My name is Travis Hoium. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And thanks to this video sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. Let's look at the market first before I get to the FDA's release yesterday. This is the market's reaction. Like I said, I'm recording about an hour and a half left in trading today. Stock is down about 10.3%. And you can see the headlines. Hims and Hers stock falls after Eli Lilly's weight loss drug is dropped from shortage list. This is the big news, is Eli Lilly's drug, which is called Zepbound. It's a tirzepatide, was dropped from the FDA's shortage list. That's what Hims and Hers is using to allow the company to compound these drugs. This is the actual release from the FDA. U.S. Food and Drug Administration has determined the shortage of tirzepatide injections has been resolved. They've been in short supply since 2022, but there's now apparently enough supply in the market. This also nicely goes into exactly what the other competitors are in the market for GLP-1s. Tirzepatide, shortage is resolved. Dulaglutide injections is still in shortage. Semaglutide, also still in shortage. But the manufacturer has reported that all but one of the presentations are available, so that shortage may not last all that much longer. Liraglutide, also in shortage. 2 presentations are available, 3 limited availability. So that one may last a little bit longer. This is the one that came off shortage today. That is Zepbound. What Hims and Hers makes is compounded semaglutide. So that is the same thing as Ozempic and Wegovy. I'll just show you the sites for these 2 products as well. And these 2 products are still on shortage. So if you take anything away from the move today, understand that what Hims and Hers actually sells in the market today is not impacted at all by this FDA ruling. What the market is speculating is that in the future, the shortage that is allowing the company to sell GLP-1s because Ozempic and Wegovy are in shortage, that will eventually end. And there's maybe only a quarter or 2 left. This starts a 60-day clock for companies to basically stop selling these compounded drugs. So that's the fear, is that the GLP-1 boom that Hims and Hers has had is going to disappear over the next couple of months, maybe the next couple of quarters. But it's definitely going to sunset. And this shouldn't be a huge surprise if you follow the company closely. But it's also worth putting into context exactly what an impact this will be on the company, because it's probably not what you think. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. While GLP-1s and weight loss in general has gotten a lot of attention from the market, it's still a relatively small portion of Hims and Hers business. Let's go to comments from management from the last conference call. I want to start with this one. In the 4th quarter last year, we watched our weight loss, specialty, and personalized oral-based solutions. Remember, GLP-1s are really only a few months old in the Hims and Hers ecosystem. So that has not been a big impact. But he does go on to say within less than a year, it is scaled to a run rate of $100 million in annual revenue. Now, if you look at that comment closely, it's not really clear. Does that include just the oral products? Is it GLP-1s? So go to this comment later in the conference call. I think given the breadth of the portfolio that we have, and this is inclusive of the personalized oral compounds, because the question was about GLP-1s, what we shared in the prepared remarks, it has grown to a $100 million run rate business, the fastest specialty alone. So a $100 million run rate business means that the company is generating about $25 million per quarter in revenue from the weight loss segment, not from GLP-1s, not from semaglutide, but from the entire segment. So what is the impact on the business going to be? This is a chart that shows the quarterly revenue for Hims and Hers. So 2nd quarter 2024 revenue, $315.7 million. At most, there's about $25 million that can be associated with the weight loss segment. That would be what is in question with this FDA ruling that came down yesterday. That is less than the incremental revenue growth quarter over quarter that Hims and Hers had. So is this going to be an impact on the business? Could be. It definitely could be. But it's not going to be 20% of the business or 30% of the business. At most, it's going to be less than 10% of the business today. That's not great news, but it's also not terrible news. We need to put that into context. Management also talked about how there could be options in the future, and this will be what's going to be interesting to see over the next couple of quarters. How does management respond to this? Because the current strategy of compounding these drugs and actually buying a pharmacy that can actually do that could come into question. But I thought this comment was pretty important. And this comment is in relation to GLP-1s and the compounding and basically the setup that they have in the business. I think this will exist and expand beyond the current shortage dynamics. So basically the shortage ending was already in sight a couple of months ago, but there are going to be ways to personalize GLP-1s using compounding. So he goes on to say, I think there's a really established precedent with regard to compounding exception, which allows for this level of personalization that we've spoken about for patients that need it. Add all that together. You have the GLP-1 compounding that Hims and Hers is doing today is not impacted by the ending of this shortage. That doesn't mean that what they are compounding isn't going to be impacted sometime in the near future, maybe in the next couple of months. But that distinction is worth pointing out. The second thing, Hims and Hers is only generating about $25 million per quarter from the entire weight loss segment. Yes, that is a growth segment, but it is that amount of growth. But that amount of revenue is less than the incremental growth that they had from the first quarter to the second quarter. So just put into context exactly what the impact on the business is going to be. In addition to that, management is saying that basically there are going to be ways for them to personalize products and GLP-1s to sell them to customers, sort of similar to what they're doing today. And everything that Hims and Hers is doing, if you look at their presentations, their strategy, what their business model looks like, a lot of it is leaning into that personalization piece, taking two things that a customer needs, combining them into one treatment. Can GLP-1s be that for a lot of customers in Hims and Hers? It's very possible. So I just think we need to think about the context of what's going on today. Yes, this is a big deal because this exception, this compounding exception, is what Hims and Hers has used to get into the GLP-1 business in the first place. But if we go back to that revenue growth chart, there's basically no revenue growth before the most recent quarter from GLP-1s. And this was still a very high growth business before GLP-1s were even a part of the picture for Hims and Hers. So if the market wants to sell off a stock like this, that's great. I would love to buy more shares of Hims and Hers at a lower price. But I don't think that this current ruling is all that big a deal. And it's the kind of thing that's going to happen over and over again. There's going to be new products that come on the market. There's going to be patents. There's going to be generics. They're going to be selling branded products. Things are going to be fluid for Hims and Hers. What you want to look at is, are they building a valuable platform that more and more customers are using? And is there more and more treatments going into that platform? And I think the answer to that question is yes. That's what ultimately makes me bullish on Hims and Hers. Not just one specific product like a GLP. It's about the entire ecosystem and platform the company is building. So hopefully that helps in understanding exactly why the stock is down. The market obviously reacts to these things and kind of knee-jerk reactions. But if you look into the details, I don't think it's nearly as bad as a lot of investors think. Will still probably be a really good third quarter for Hims and Hers, and probably a really good fourth quarter as well. So I'll be back covering those here on Asymmetric Investing. So subscribe if you want to see that. Let me know what you think about the stock and the market's reaction in the comments below. Don't forget to, thanks for watching, and I'll see you here next time.